Yeah, we are live. Oh my gosh, it's been a while, isn't it, lads? We are live. We are live. What's going on? You all right?
Yeah, man. International break done, innit? So, you know what? I
Oh,
forgot the Premier League is even back. I was just like, what day is it again?
you know
Tom.
what? Seriously, you're saying you didn't know whether the Premier League was back. I've been counting down the days, man. I've been counting down the days to see boring, non-attacking football. I just can't wait for it.
I
And
think
it's
for
Oh,
just
me,
because it's internationals.
I was like, the Premier's back. Who we got? Chelsea. Oh yeah.
Ow.
Oh well.
exactly.
Oh well.
Exactly. We've got Chelsea to come back to. So, wow. I mean, look, shout out to everyone who's in the stream so far. I'm sure more will join. Shout out to David. Shout out to Andrew as well. Yeah, we've got a few things to get through as well. Shout out to you as well, Liam. Talking about Bruce. I'm excited about this more than watching Newcastle under Bruce. Yes, Liam, that's what I'm talking about. You should be happy to be part of the stream more than watching Steve Bruce football. But yeah, I think it's just like a brief little catch up between all three of us. I miss seeing your faces, man. It's weird, isn't it? You know, usually I see you guys on. I ain't seen you in a while, man.
In it, man. 2 weeks. Oh no, last time we saw, bro, I was ready to give up, man. the last one we were like, man, how long is this season again? How many games left?
Oh, it happens like that. It gets like that sometimes. Look, it's Newcastle, man. We're used to roller coasters, up and downs, and all the rest of it. You know, it's one of them.
Look, it wouldn't be our club if it wasn't like that, because that's all we've been used to. You know what I mean? More downs and ups.
When I don't hear anything, that's when I get worried. That's when I get worried. Like when I don't hear anything, no controversies happening, no takeovers happening. I'm like, hold on, are we supporting the same club here or what? What's going on here? But I mean, we've had a little bit of news, but before we get onto that, me and Pete, we were on another stream, so we left you, Fumbi. Sorry about that. Things happen like that, you know. Me and Pete have gone big time now. Yeah, we was on obviously Steve Rave's stream, so shout out to Steve for having us on. And yeah, it was just interesting seeing. It was interesting also seeing how other people do their streams, and also it was just good for a change, not having to worry about like comments or setting up the stream and all the rest of it. Just come in as a guest and just say my piece and go. So yeah, I don't know how you found it, Pete. Obviously, you're there all the time anyway.
Look, yeah, I'm part of the Matters community and the FC Matters. Steve's a great guy, and he's been great to allow me to obviously go on the show and be part of the Match Day Live and stuff. So, and the guys on there are good people. So I enjoy doing it. But you know what? Like you said, it was nice to have you on there, where you were just able to just talk about Newcastle and made some great points. And I was just gutted because look, we're talking about us being big time. There's no one more big time than Fumbi, man. And we needed him on there. Next time you're on there, we'll get you on, man, to tear it up.
Hey, the room was full, fam. I thought it was a rave.
I know. Look, we'll get you on there.
I kept on trying to speech the bouncer. Hey, let me get you through the back door.
Yo,
I thought it was bad girls in there. I was like, how many girls are in there? How many girls are in there? Tell me the truth. Come on, hey, big man, don't do that. Don't do
that. They were the days. It
was a case of names got down. You can't come in, mate. Sorry. Or
you're trying to speech. Have you tried Leon? You tried Leon. Capital L, yeah? Capital L.
Oh, God. I've got a shout out to Jonathan. Evening, lads. Still got my can of cider in the fridge from April. #cans. Soon I hope. Haha. Firstly, though, going to be a tough game on Saturday. We'll get onto the game on Saturday. Don't you worry. Daz says, love you too, Pete, as well. Shout out to you, Daz.
Yeah.
And then also Jonathan as well saying, good to see Clinton Pete on Steve's stream and also from me on NFTV. Yeah, we won't talk about that. Yeah, from me, right? Next time, at least have a little, you know what I mean? The contract that says you're not allowed to go elsewhere, mate. All right.
Bro, I'm moving like Miggy's agent.
We'll get into Miggy's agent. Don't you worry, Miggy's agent. Yeah, we will.
Fumby, you know you need to give permission to Clinton. You need to get permission from Clinton first.
Exactly, man.
Exactly. You know that.
Your contract.
I'm even like Pogba. I just it's my dream to play for Madrid. That's been my dream. I'm even like Sissoko. I want to play Champions League football. Really?
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to Dazzles again saying, "For me, we need to get you on, mate." See, look, they want us all on, man. So hopefully next time, there'll be enough stream space for all of us. So it'd be good to have all three of us on, and vice versa. We want to kind of get Daz and some of the other guys on as well. So yeah, that'd be good as well. Statman Keith, shout out to you, man. We missed you, guy. We missed you on the last one. Evening, lads. Chelsea have won only one game in their last 7 games. But I'm quite worried that good run on Saturday in Chelsea will beat Newcastle 3-0. Oh, so you build me up and then you took me back down as well. Like,
over.
Hey, to be fair, that's what I'm banking on. That they don't play. They just don't beat us at home. That's the only thing I'm banking on. I'm not coming with tactics, formation. I'm just saying they don't play well against us. That's it.
Look, we're just living on hope. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail, but purely living on hope. And the fact that when they play against a very defensive-minded team that sit back in, they find it difficult to break them down. So, we're living on hope that we can recreate the magic again. The Bruce magic.
Bruce magic. Brucelona football, baby.
No.
Also, as you said, there's definitely been things happening in the background regarding the takeover. Hopefully, we hear some brilliant news in the future. Oh gosh, this thing again, the T words. Liam saying the Premier League are part. I'd love to see it. Laughing emojis. Andrew saying just need to focus on the football for the time being. Trying to work out what Bruce is doing. Laugh out loud. I think we've all been trying to work out what Bruce is doing since he got here. To be fair, let's be honest with that. Right. I'm going to give you two the option. What should we start off with first? So I can start off with Miggy and his agent. We can talk about Newcastle and the Premier League, or versus the Premier League, or Chelsea game. That game against Chelsea. We can talk about that sometime. But which one?
I think the game comes last.
Yeah. Let's start with Miggy. Let's start with Miggy.
Keith, I see your comment. Don't worry, we'll talk about it in a bit as well. We'll talk about Miggy. So obviously, it's not looking great for Miggy, if I'm being honest. He's not starting games, but when he is starting games or coming on, it is looking good. Even when he's playing for his national team, it's looking good. But just under Bruce, it's not looking good. So now his agent's coming out saying, "Oh, he's potentially going to be leaving Newcastle by January. We've got him a club," or blah, yada, yada. Normal agent talk, all the rest of it. What are you guys making of it? Is it agent talk? Do you think he'll be moving on? What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's definitely agent talk. January's around the corner. He's trying to get his players some more game time, some more security, possibly a bigger contract. He knows Newcastle fans are very, emotional. We hear a report like this, we want answers immediately. Having said that, I playing under Bruce. If it's true that this is how he's feeling, I'm not surprised. I had one out too. I ain't about to play central defensive midfielder when I'm a striker. I'm not doing that for the whole season. So it's not surprising to me that players want out. If you're not enjoying your football, if you're signed as a striker and they constantly tell you to play wing back or right midfielder, you're not enjoying yourself. You need to go to a club where the manager will play you regardless, which is what Hendrick did. He didn't want to play on the right in Burnley, wanted to play in the centre. Not easy playing on the right in our club. He's playing every game.
And he's getting sent off for his national side as well.
When he got sent off, when he got sent off, I was like, I hope that band can stretch to the Prem too.
How are you wishing that on our players, man?
Because otherwise, how's he gonna sit on the bench? You know when you hear Man City and them big boy teams, and then like Kante's the first name on the team sheet, and you're like respecting that man because of what he brings. Hey, Hendrick's the first name on our team sheet, man.
You know
And we
what?
don't even know why.
There's a couple of fans out there that were definitely disappointed when that red card got pulled out because their hopes of him playing the full 90 and pulling up with a hamstring injury was decimated. It was over. They knew he was coming. They knew he was going back early doors. He was training at the club the next day.
Man.
Hey Pete, Bruce told him to get sent off so he can come out quickly.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That would even surprise you. That would not even surprise you. I mean, look, we got away from actually what we're talking about. Almira. We're talking about Almira, not Hendrick.
You know what? That kind of links in with the sending off business because look, equally, Almiron got suspended in the either the first or second game and should have come back early from Paraguay and stayed. And that tells you a lot. He stayed with the national team. Even on the request of Newcastle requested for him to come back. And he still said no. And he stayed and watched the game, even though he knew he was suspended. But look, it's heavily pushed by the agent. The agent, I think, is well known for doing this with his players. He's trying to orchestrate some sort of move and starting that talk. You know, we had it back in the day with Sissoko and Kabai and Jan Matt and all those players that tried to angle for moves, and the agent seems like they're doing the same. The one thing with Miggy is he stayed relatively quiet. However, what we're now, in my opinion, we're getting a little bit more of an understanding as to why he didn't start the season, because I believe that there's probably a little bit of truth in that, and maybe there's a little bit of truth that Almiron wasn't particularly happy. Now, who would be happy playing in this style of football? Like Rumby said, who would be happy, playing most of your game in your own half? Most of the 90 minutes playing in your own half, chasing back, tracking back, and he does it well because he's got pace and he's got the energy to do it. But, that's not what he was bought for. We didn't pay the best part of 16 million, rising to 21 million on a player to just run around and play defensive midfielder. It's not his game. And, it gets to a point with every player where they say enough's enough. It also, for me, on a little side note, helps me understand the picture a little bit of maybe why Alan St. Maximin has not been at his best the last few games either. Because I think he may be thinking, I'm sick of this sitting behind the ball, 10 men behind the ball
at the same time, man.
I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, I think it helps paint the picture of how some of our more creative flair players are starting to feel playing in this system, playing under this manager. And I think, unless something drastically changes, I think it's likely to get worse. But look, Miggy seems like a down-to-earth guy. He'll keep working. He should be starting every game for me. He should be starting every game because he gives us something. He gives us something that we haven't got in the team. And let's face it. Look, he's barely kicked the ball this season, and he's got the most assists in our team. Yes, it's only 3, but he's got the most assists already.
I got a feel from man. Mikey's saying typical. Just got Miggy on the back of my shirt as he's my favorite player. And then his age comes out with this. I'll be gutted if he leaves because Miggy gives 100% every game. Look, I've had my times where I've kind of gone into Miggy because sometimes I feel like when him and ASM are on the same pitch, he kind of goes into his shell. I see him playing for his national team, different player altogether. I don't know if you guys seen that clip where he's dribbling. I think he won a penalty or something like that. That's the sort of Almiron that I want to see. But when he plays for Newcastle, as you guys have both mentioned, he's pretty much playing defensive midfield. Do you know what I mean? So one way or another, we're not seeing the best of Miggy like what we were seeing. Well, I was about to say under Rafa, but he still went under a barren spell under Rafa, didn't he? So
he didn't go under a barren spell under Rafa though. He was injured for the rest after like 4 games. He was out for the whole season.
He didn't score for time, man. He didn't score for time.
That was under Rafa though. That was under. He didn't see the rest of the season under Rafa. He came back with Bruce.
Yeah, his influence when he first signed, and I remember that first game when he came on at Wolves, the game that we should have won. His influence in that game, he absolutely tore it up, and he was causing defensive problems. The game that he got injured when we beat Southampton, I think we beat them 4-2 at home, and Perez got the hat trick. He was unplayable in that game, and he got injured, and they chopped him. He got injured because he
Mhm.
got chopped down
Mhm.
because they couldn't
Mhm.
handle him. And I'm convinced, I'm like Fumby, if he'd have stayed fit for the rest of the season, he'd have got his goal in his assist, and we'd have probably seen a different type of player because his confidence would have gone sky high. Right. Look, Miggy's a fantastic player. Do I think he'll leave in the summer? No, not if we stay in the Premier League. We won't. That's the only way I see him leaving is if we get relegated. I don't see him leaving, and I'm looking at the two teams that are looking at signing him. You look at Inter Milan, you look at Atletico Madrid. Now, for the money that we will want for him, considering we're paying 16 million with a rise to 21, we're going to want at least that, probably more. Now he's a Premier League player for him. So you're looking at around 30 plus million. Now, for me, with a player that's not quite yet showing his full potential, I don't see neither of those teams in leagues that don't get a lot of finances paying that sort of money for that type of player, unless they sell a player for big money and then they're able to sign him. I just don't see it happening. Teams are going to have to play well over this value to get him, and I just don't see it happening. So I see him staying another season.
Just going to read out some of these more comments. So Liam saying this reminds you of Ben Arthur under Pardew. It's quite similar as it goes. He then goes on to say Steve Bruce is why I've been watching the National League and League Two, and I don't regret it. Fair point. Andrew saying this is a fair point as well. Ryan Fraser, ASM, and Miggy all need to start in their proper positions. There we go. And also, Statman keeps saying Bruce is like the opposite of Kevin Keegan. Keegan always used to make players into attacking players in the entertainers era, whereas Bruce is sending players in other directions, retreat in defence. I mean, look, we've already seen Hayden start out. Not Hayden, sorry. Jacob Murphy start out right wing back. Obviously, like we're talking about Miggy playing defensive midfield. He doesn't play defensive midfield, but he plays so defensive. We're not using him to the best of his abilities. I mean, will it be long before we see Callum Wilson in the central defence? I mean, I laugh about it, but at the same time, you might see it like, oh, he can header. Oh, I might put him there, you know. Put Andy up front. Try and get them both on the same pitch at the same time. Callum, do you mind doing a little shift with Jamal at the back? But I don't know. It's just look. Mike is saying you can tell Miggy wants to do well for us. Bruce is the problem. He's got all of these attacking options, and he has no idea how to utilize them. I completely agree because we haven't had this much attacking threat since I'm going out on a limb here and saying under Pardew maybe. Like the attacking threats that we've got in midfield. Yeah. If you're all on the same pitch at the same time, ASM, Miggy, Fraser, I'm always missing one. Obviously Wilson. There's another one as well. Almiron, Almiron, there you go. Murphy, like all of those attacking threat, and we're still struggling to score goals. We're still struggling to get them to play in their proper positions. It doesn't make sense to me. But again,
I don't even think all four of them should start at the same time. I just think a manager should know when to use these weapons. Yeah. He has no idea when to use them. Remember there was a time when when Rafa was benching Shelby. At one point, I thought he was our most creative outlet. I didn't understand why he's benching him. But after a while, I understood Rafa's methods. I understood what he wanted from his players and how he expected them to go out and play. And if you weren't bringing that, he weren't putting you on.
Yeah.
Bruce doesn't know what to do with the players he has. He has no idea what to do.
And that's the biggest problem. Look, to put it briefly, Bruce's. Whether you like it or not, Bruce has come in and steadied the ship after Rafa went. He came in, he steadied the ship because look, we as fans thought we were going to get relegated. We were odds on. There were some fans that didn't even think we'd win a game that season. You know, the whole season. That's how bad he thought that fans thought we were. However, we stayed up, and we stayed up relatively comfortably in the end. He did his job by steadying the ship. But if you're as an owner thinking that Steve Bruce is going to take us forward, of course he's going to tell us he's going to take us forward because he wants to stay in that job because he knows he's never going to get another Premier League job again if he leaves Newcastle. So of course he's going to tell you that and he's going to try and sell it to you. But the reality is, if you think that Steve Bruce is going to take this club forward in any sort of positive way, then you're deluded. And it's as simple as that. We need now a manager that can take this good squad of players. It's a good squad of players. It's a squad, in my opinion, that is capable of at least a top 10 finish, right? Finishing in the top 10, but not under this manager and not under this coaching staff. We need a manager that's going to take us forward. And until that happens, until Bruce gets the chop, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get these indifferent performances, and we're going to get players of good ability that are going to be wasted. Absolutely wasted. You just my last point. You go back to Genie Wijnaldum, right? In the season we got relegated. Yes, he scored 9 or 10 goals, but actually, if we'd have utilised him, if we had the manager to utilise him and not Steve McLaren, right, who was a bit of a clown, he'd have probably scored 15 to 20 goals. Okay, because he was getting in good positions, but not having the right system to play the right way. You put ASM in any of those top 6 sides, he'll be tearing it up. If you put Amir on in any of those top 6 sides, he'd be creating and pressing for fun. He would be, but they're just not being utilised in the right way. And until that happens, it's going to carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a really good couple points from Liam. Shout out to Liam. He's coming with the fire tonight. He said, first of all, we stayed up because of Dubravka. Don't care what anyone says. That is ideally quite a fair point. But then he also goes on to say, would you take Eddie Howe for the short term? Well, I see you shaking your head already, nodding your head already, Pete, like you're listening to Dr. Dre. Like, it's that obvious. But you know what I mean? Like, people like that, we need young bloods that can come into this club and steer the ship, not Steve Bruce with his old ways of, oh, we're going to go 4-4-2, Andy Carroll up top, feed off of him. That sort of football only works against probably one team, and that's maybe Burnley. I don't know, like if you can go toe-to-toe with that person. But Eddie Howe, again, he's been in the Premier League. Yes, he got relegated, but do you know what I mean? You could say that about a lot of managers who've been given second and third chances. So that's a fair point. I mean, obviously, Pete, you already saying, yeah. Fumbi, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take Eddie Howe. I'll take anybody over Steve Bruce. It's just, I mean, we have problems. Steve Bruce is a part of our problem. Our problem is, I have like Arsenal fans and Tottenham fans, and there's always banter in the family group. And we were ripping one of the Arsenal brothers, and he decided to post a picture of when Arsenal were invincible, where they went the whole season unbeaten. And we were 5th that season. And I remember looking at the table thinking, my team was this high in the game. And you look at it now and you just realize the problem isn't the club or the fact that we're not big enough. We just make bad decisions, like continuously. Bad decisions. And Bruce is another bad decision. And everybody says, you know, Newcastle fans are delusional and everything like that. I just told you, I didn't even know. I saw the invincible table where Arsenal go a whole season unbeaten. And we were right in the mix, number 5th. So we're not delusional. We've seen it before. We're just pissed off that you're taking the piss out of our lives. How can we have Steve Bruce? How? How did we go from Rafa to Steve Bruce? Who thinks like that?
Exactly.
I can't enjoy the football. I can't. Yeah. You can't shop in Harrods and then tell me let's go and kick it in Primark for lunch. I'm gonna be like, why?
Yeah. You're right. And it's back completely stripped back down to your point. It's continual bad decisions, right? We, regardless of us getting relegated and all the rest of it, we built ourselves back up, right, the first time round, and we then finished 5th. That was the time for us to build and really kick on. Bad decisions, only signing one player, not investing in the squad at the right times, meant that fell apart. We then built ourselves back up again after that point, after falling short, losing Kabay, all the rest of it. Then not buying Lorit Remy or getting Lorit Remy was a massive disappointment. After that point, we then had a chance to rebuild the squad again, which he did. He brought in Mitrovic, he brought in Wijnaldum, he brought in Janmaat, he brought in good players. But what did he do? He appointed Steve McLaren. And that's it. And it's just continual bad decisions. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. He then has the opportunity to rebuild again after the next relegation with Rafa Benitez, one of the most talented world-class managers in Europe. What does he then do? Not give him any money to sign the right players.
It's mad,
bad decision. It's a continual cycle.
It's like bad bad managers and then good players. Good manager, bad players. I mean, Jonathan's made a point here, and he's cracking me up. Like going from Rafa to Bruce is like dating a Victoria's Secret model to dating Susan Boyle.
Yeah.
Like it is that. It's mad.
It is, and this is why
you got a Ferrari, and you're letting a bus driver just walk into your Ferrari, blood. Start your engine. Start speeding off the road.
He's revving it up and everything. He's doing.
Right, bro. He's eating in your car. Man's eating in your Ferrari.
In your Ferrari.
In your Ferrari, blood.
Put his feet on the dash and everything. This is
in your Ferrari, and you're comfortable with them. Because believe it or not, Newcastle are a top club, 50,000 seater. You don't play like that. You bring them the best. We've got Bruce, a substitute teacher.
And this goes back to the point. Goes back to the original point about Eddie Howe. Is that Eddie Howe has already proven that he could get Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser scoring goals and assisting together, right? He's already proven that. You throw Almiron and St. Maximin into that style of play that he creates, and he would create madness. He would take us on. Look, let's face it, Eddie Howe, yes, Bournemouth got relegated. But Eddie Howe took a pretty much non-league side and made them a Premier League team, right? And then not just made them a Premier League team, made them at one point a top 10 Premier League team, right? From nothing. He showed his capabilities. He's brought in some talented players. The only issue with Bournemouth is that some of their other players, their older players, just max out. They cleared their cycle, and they didn't sign and didn't buy players to come in and replace them at the right time. So they've been through their cycle in the Premier League, and then they just got caught cold, which every team does. Stoke did the same, Swansea did the same, Villa did the same, we've done the same. Teams, it happens to teams, but you can't doubt that Eddie Howe would come in, right, and do a hell of a job compared to Steve Bruce with those players that he's got in front of him. There is no doubt, regardless of what you think.
Right, let's move on now, because we could talk about this all stream, but let's move on to this club statement that's come out, us versus the Premier League. Now, I thought I'd seen the back of this whole Premier League debate. I know, like, we wanted to take over and it didn't happen. Sorry for me to bring it back up again, but it is what it is, man. But this club statement's come out today, and I don't know if you can see it on screen there, but I'm just going to read it out a little bit. The club has previously not commented on the arbitration it is pursuing against the Premier League with respect to its conduct related to the proposed takeover because of the confidentiality clause in the EPL's rules. However, the club is aware of the public reports which state that on the 17th of November, the EPL referred to the legal proceedings with the club, e.g. social media posts referring to the club's own legal case in a letter to Newcastle supporters. The source of some of the reporting is said to be the EPL. It appears, therefore, that the EPL has leaked the contents of their letter to some of those commenting in the public domain. The club understands that these will be matters of great concern to its fans, and therefore considers that in light of the information disclosed by the EPL, it has no choice but to respond and update its fans' response to this coverage. The club makes no comment on the substance of the arbitration, but it can confirm that it's issued arbitration proceedings against the EPL. It's unclear when those proceedings will be resolved, given the approach of the EPL and its lawyers. But nevertheless, the club will continue to use the best efforts to press for fair, full, and timely hearings of its claims. God, that was a ball ache to read out. Pete, do you want to put that into layman's terms for me? Because
I want to go first on this one. I want to go first.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah. Whatever Pete says, I agree. Go ahead, Pete.
Pete has been our legal correspondent or our takeover.
Hey, you know me. I'm gonna go off the rails and say we getting messy in the summer. So I'm gonna let you take care of this one, Pete.
This one's all you, baby. You can do this one,
look, okay. Look, when you say that you thought this takeover business was done, it ain't done.
It ain't over. Right? It ain't over. It reminds me of who's that? Leo DiCaprio in that movie. He's like, they thought I was leaving. Well, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, I'm not fucking leaving.
Exactly.
So look. In real talk. It's not over. It won't be over until there is official confirmation from the consortium that they're pulling out completely, and it's completely over. These guys are still pushing. It looks like it's a very tactical, well-laid plan by the consortium to out the Premier League and to get it, and basically what they want is the arbitration, because the arbitration, they are going to have to the Premier League are going to have to bear all their secrets. And at this point in time, with the big picture falling flat, with a lot of the talk about the big six having a huge influence over decisions, including our takeover, and well, all the rest of it, right? All of that is going to need to come out. It's going to need to come out about the involvement of certain journalists, which I don't know if you've seen the Ben Jacobs response after the fans consortium came out on Tuesday, and made their points, and then today he's made some comments again, and he's basically shot himself in the foot because he's been making comments about private information that shouldn't have been shared from the Premier League before it had even come out, which says that the Premier League are leaking information anyway to certain people. So they're basically shooting themselves in the foot right now, and by going to arbitration at that point, all of it's going to come out. And I think this is the plan, is because they know, the consortium and their legal team know that the Premier League are going to not want this information to come out, because the Premier League's already seen in a bad light at the moment, a very, very bad light in terms of how it's run, in terms of Richard Masters, in terms of his organisation. He's not even been in the role for a year, and already he's been talked about as being one of the worst leaders of the Premier League that we've ever seen. And what they want is they want an out of court settlement with the takeover going through, and this is what they're going to try and force for. If the Premier League don't comply, they'll take them to arbitration. Everything gets laid bare, and they are confident. They're confident that they've got enough evidence, they've got enough backing to ensure that they win the arbitration and that takeover goes through. Then, in my opinion, I think after that point, Mike Cash is going to want some money. Because he's going to want some money, because he could have had his 340 million a hell of a long time ago, and he's had to invest in Newcastle, invest in the players, and put more money into the club when he could have been walking away buying Harrods, for example, if he really wanted to. You know what I mean?
By one of them department stores.
He could have been off buying 3 or 4 different department stores and living life. But they've made it difficult for him to move on. He's actually wanted to move on. For the first time in 13 years, he's wanted to move on, and the Premier League have stopped it from happening. So he will go back and say, I want money. I want my money for you holding me back on my trade and holding me back on my future potential businesses that I could have been investing in right now, particularly during a pandemic, which is Mike Ashley territory, for picking up businesses at cheap prices. So, look, this takeover is not going to. I think the statement today proves it, that these guys, Mike Ashley first and foremost, wants to sell the club. That is without question, and it's been without question. It's since April, since he agreed the deal, right? It's also clear that the consortium still want to buy this club. I think the question marks were PIF still interested because they pulled out of the deal? They are still there. They still want it, right? They still want this deal to be done. Is it going to be done in the next couple of weeks or in the next, month or so? Probably not. It's probably going to drag on a little bit longer. Why? Because the Premier League are going to try and drag this out for as long as possible. Because for as long as they drag it out, they're going to hope that the PIF are going to want to walk away, and that it's just going to be too much of a long game for them. As well as that, they're going to try and drag it out for as long as possible, because they don't want their secrets being laid bare in court, and that's exactly what's going to happen if they don't comply. So it's a tug of war at the moment. Put it in simple terms. It's a tug of war at the moment, but we got Big Mike. And Big Mike's got the strength to make it happen, because when he wants something, for all of our negativity about Big Mike, when Big Mike wants something, 9 times out of 10 he gets it. So I'm confident he'll make it happen.
For Fumbi. Yo, when was time? This guy.
I don't want us to sign anyone
for a while because he knows about flipping Kai Havertz and Fumbi. So yeah, tell it to me.
I don't mind. It's not about even who we sign. There's only one thing that we need to sort out. If we ever get taken over, the first thing is who do we sack?
Oh my god!
You know what? I don't think we'd even need to sack him. I think by the time that takeover is announced, whenever that is, he'll already have his bags packed and he'll already be out the door because he knows, right, with all that rubbish talk in the summer about give Bruce a chance. No, he is not getting a chance. And I think the pundits know that, right? No matter how much they back him in media, the pundits know that. And the consortium now know he is not the guy to take Newcastle forward. It doesn't matter whether we're in the middle of a season. It doesn't matter whether we're at the start or the end of a season. He will leave. It's as simple as that.
Right. Let's part the T word now to one side and let's forget about it until this next club statement comes out. And let's talk about me. I'm a superstar. I'm going to be a movie star. Yes, we are the Geordies. It's coming out. It's coming out next month. It's a long time in the making, put it that way, because it's coming from 4 years ago, obviously when we was in the championship, at least 4 seasons ago. Yep. It was a season where they followed myself and 3 or 4 other fans, should I say, and just kind of getting our perspective on being in the championship and what Rafa meant to the club at the time. So you'll see me minus hair as well, so I'll kind of look a bit like this. So yeah, it's going to be good, and it's coming out next month. So you'll be seeing a lot of posting from me. Hopefully, you guys who are listening can support it. Go and watch it. It'll be good times to remember because I remember when we was in the championship that season, and I know people say, "Oh, we're in the championship, not in the Premier League," but it was nice to go to games where you're actually going to win. You're like, oh, I'm confident we're going to beat Barnsley today. Oh, we're going to get 3 points against Derby. Oh, yeah, cool. We're going to score 4 goals against Rotherham. Like, it was nice. That's what I didn't actually mind about being in the championship. So, yeah, I'm going to ask you got your thoughts about it. In fact, being in the championship that season. I know we're going back 4 years, but hey.
You know what? Funny enough, I actually went to watch the opening game. I think we played Fulham.
Yeah.
I think we did. And I went to watch the opening game because it was in London. And I took my brother to the game, and I remember apologizing to my brother halfway through. That I had to put the football was diabolical. No, actually, no. We got toasted by Fulham. Yeah, and that was, oh my God. One of the defenders did a madness. I think he did a turn, and we just looked terrible.
Oh, and I think it might have been.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
We lost our first 2 games or something like that. And I thought
we lost
to myself,
at home to Huddersfield.
Right. So I said, hey, Rafa. But then I realized there's still 700 games left. So he would do it.
Man said 700 games. It felt like that, to be fair. There was so many games. But again, when we start getting up to speed and we Dwight Gale got going, I think he ended up with like 30 goals that season and flipping Matt Ritchie looked like a flying left winger. Obviously, he's not flying left winger now. And who else was there? Shelby was pinging balls everywhere. And who else did that?
Gale banging balls for fun.
Remember that game against West Brom or something?
Man said Atsu in the okay.
In the championship. I remember that game against West Brom where we were 4-1 down and we scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes.
One good game,
Norwich. That was Norwich. That was Norwich,
yeah.
That was down and we won 4-3.
Let me talk about that one. So when was it? We was 4-2 down, maybe 4-1 down. I was halfway out the door. That's when I was living up there at that time, up in the northeast, obviously. Hence the reason why I've been in this film. I was halfway out the door, thinking, "Oh, I ain't gonna win this." Then Dwight Gale scores one. Oh, okay, let me just stick around for a little bit. Then another one. I was like, okay. And then, oh my God, when we scored the winner, the place erupted. That's probably by far one of the best Newcastle games I've been to ever. Like, obviously we played Man United and all the rest of it, but to come back from that.
Clint, not footballing wise, it was a sham to come back.
Yeah, but come on, man, the emotion, man. Like, everyone was jumping up for joy.
It was disgusting that we came back.
Bro, No, just to be in the atmosphere, man. Just to be
I
around
know.
them.
They must be mad.
Just to score that
Yeah.
many goals, thinking, nah, they're not gonna get one. All right, they got one. They got okay, maybe. All right, we equalized. Okay, yeah, and then we went on to win it. Oh man, like
I never forget that game because I was tracking it on Twitter. It was a midweek game, so I was here and I was just working, and I had Sky Sports News on the TV, and like I have the notification that popped up like every time we scored, and I remember got to 3-2. I think Gouffon scored, and then Gale scored, and I was like, get in, like, take a point. 3-1 down, 3-3 last minute, and then like I saw the goal for Newcastle Gale. I was like, in, and literally about 10 seconds later, it was like another notification for Newcastle, and I was like, they made a mistake. Why they put the notification through twice? It turned out Gale got the winner straight after. I was like, yes, get in. Honestly, an amazing result. The only one that tops that for me, probably one of the best games I've been to, not for necessarily the game itself, because when we went to the first game of the season, I was there at St James's Park for the last game of the season when we won the league.
that's the
we played Barnsley, but Villa were playing Brighton at the same time. And obviously, Villa got the last minute goal. Jack Grealish scored to equalise, and we were cruising against Barnsley. I think we ended up winning like 3-0. And I've never been in a stadium that erupted the way the St James's Park did. Like, not for the 30 odd years that I've supported the club, I've never seen a reaction like that. It went from, we're winning the game 3-0, second place, we're back in the Premier League, to absolute pandemonium because we were all trying to check results. The signal was pouring there, and then we all got the notification at the same time. And we've been getting stick for the whole game from Barnsley because Brighton were winning and they were going to win the league, and then we just absolutely erupted. And as soon as we erupted, thinking like the 86th, 87th minute, whatever it was, all you saw was all the Barnsley fans leave. They just left the guy. There's still minutes in the game left, but they knew that they were in absolute stick. And as soon as we erupted, they knew we were going to win the league. They left, and we were just in absolute party mode. And that's the only time supporting Newcastle that I was actually a little bit emotional. And it wasn't because we won the league. It wasn't because of the celebration of the trophy or anything like that. It was because, it was the manner in which we won the league, but also we had Rafa Benitez. And Rafa Benitez we were told that Rafa Benitez is a top level manager. He doesn't know what he's doing in the Championship. He's going to be out to get beaten by the likes of Barnsley and all the rest of them in a cold night in Stoke or whatever it was, that we wouldn't be able to handle that. And you know what? He came in and he absolutely tore it apart. And he brought us up. And I thought at that point, right, Ashley's going to back him. And we're going to be able to build and rebuild and maybe do what Pardew did in the 5th place finish. And who knows? And then all of a sudden,
let's not talk about that. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
But that emotion on that day, I thought, you know what? There's hope there. For the first time in a long while, I thought, there's hope again for our club to come back up and really kick on with a world-class manager, because he stayed when he didn't have to in the Championship. He then stayed again to take us through into the Premier League. And you thought, you know what, he could build something. So yeah, it was just a great day to support Newcastle.
Do you know the mad thing? Clint, that game you're talking about, I was mad as hell at Rafa because we had beaten Brian, and all we needed to do was win. I think the next game we would win the league again, but I think we lost, which allowed Brighton to come back, and we've both been promoted, but they were going to win as long as they won. So I didn't even watch the last game. Like Pete said, second place, whatever. We're back in the Premier League. We should have been winning this shit, but whatever. I didn't even watch the games. I'm getting text messages saying congratulations from B. And I'm like, for what? They're like, you won. So yeah, we're back in the Prem. No, you won the thing. So you know we did. Brian won. I didn't know that Grealish should score the last minute goal. This is like 3 hours later. I start screaming. And I'm like, bro, it's like 3 hours later, isn't it?
Wait, I want to highlight some games from that season because again, there's some ones that just stuck out for me. So the first one is Bristol away, and the reason why I say Bristol away is because I ended up getting stranded in Bristol. So imagine I'm living in Newcastle. Yeah, this is my first time on a actual coach, like a Newcastle coach, going all the way from Newcastle to Bristol. This is at the height of me doing my little 4D fan cams, like arts and fans stuff after the games and stuff. Obviously, I was sitting around waiting for people to come and all the rest of it. The coach left without me, bro. So imagine that. The coach left without me. I had to then call up Z, shout out Z, who's one of the producers on the film. I was like, yo, I haven't got no money. Can you help me? She gives me some money. I had to then get the megabus down to London to then come back up to Newcastle. There was no direct. So it took me literally a whole day to get back up to Newcastle. That's the first one. The second game is when we played against Huddersfield away. And I just rocked up there without a ticket. I would do that a lot because there's loads of people that sell tickets on the day. I got my ticket, I kid you not, God struck me down if I'm lying, from Jamal Lascelles' dad. Like, Jamal Lascelles' dad. Yeah, exactly. I remember it to this day because I was like, seeing about all the rest of it, knows what his brothers looks like and the rest of it. And I was just got talking to a minute because, again, like, let's face it, there's not that many black faces that go to Newcastle games or the rest of it. Seeing him and start speaking to him, it's like, oh, yeah, I've got a spare ticket in it. I was like, you want it? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, cool. So obviously we got into the game. I think we won that game. Is it 3-1? And Gale scored the third goal. The keeper came out. So that one sticks out in my mind a lot as well. Another game that sticks out is the game against Nottingham Forest. I think it was in a cup. Was Darla made a double save? Was it Pete?
Yeah, it was in the league actually.
Oh, in the league.
It was a league game. Yeah, we lost. What was it? We lost 3-2 or 4-3. I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
but we
2 men sent off or something like that, wasn't it? 2 men sent off.
Yeah.
Darla made a double save, but again, just that one stuck out in my mind. And then the final one as well that stick out in my mind is going to Burton Albion away. Now that Sunderland fans especially, because obviously they was taking the piss out of us, made so much of a big deal of that. Oh, you're going to Burton away and all the rest of it. Okay. Not a bad ground. It does strike me as a non-league ground. I kid you that. But again, it's funny how things come at you fast. Life comes at you fast because 4 years on from now, Sunderland are playing Burton or were playing Burton because they've now gone even further down. And look where we are. So again, don't take the piss. Yeah. Don't take the piss.
Know what?
There you go.
The one game that stood out that season, and it was a great season, was the Brighton game where we were both. And people are gonna laugh when I say this, but it was like Liverpool versus Man City when the title's on the line, and this is where you get to decide who's going to go to the finishing line. Because Brighton were on our arse that season. I kept on saying blood. And because it was Chris Huron, you have to support the brother, innit? I was like, hey, blood, you need to allow us, man. But we put in a goal down in that game, and I was sweating like, oh my goodness. But credit to Rafa, man. He didn't just bring on all the attacking threat we had. He just coached it, man. And we came back and we won. I couldn't believe it. I was so proud to be a Newcastle fan.
Any other manager would have lost that game because Brighton came out of the blocks so quick, so fast, pressed us high. We didn't know.
They were honest.
Our heads were spinning after 10 minutes. Absolutely spinning. We didn't know what to do. But Rafa, he just has that calm about him. He believes in his system. He makes his players believe in the system. And you could see as the game grew on, you could see the confidence. And yes, it was a very fortunate goal by Diarme to get us back in the game. But once we got back in the game, it looked like there was only ever going to be one winner. And to get that result was and I was the same as Fumby. When we got that result, I thought we can win the league. Then we went to Huddersfield, who were fighting us for the title too, the next week and beat them 3-1 away, which you guys talked about. And we did that back-to-back, and you're thinking there's only one winner for the title here. And then we go and lose to Ipswich, and we go and lose to someone else, and it was like, oh, no, what the hell was going on here?
The 2 hardest games, Pete. We took them. No, you know what? The Brighton game, they said we were going to lose. We weren't the ones to win because Brighton were playing well. We beat them back-to-back. I said, Newcastle, baby. I said that in Spanish in case I get to meet Rafa.
It was a crazy season, an absolute crazy season. Because I think the games after that with Sheffield Wednesday away, where I think we lost 1-0, and Shelby nearly scored from the halfway line. I think it just went over the bar. and then we lost to Ipswich, and then we thought the season was over, and then I think when we relaxed and thought the season was over, it was like, right, let's just get promoted. And then we kind of relaxed and we started to play our football. Then we had the Cardiff away game on the Friday night, where we absolutely obliterated Cardiff.
Bro, Pete's got a memory, fam.
Honestly, Atsu with that little deaf one-touch free kick right in the top corner, and then Hayden with an absolute rocket of a left foot. And the fans were amazing. Our fans were amazing that game, like amazing. And at that point, we're thinking we're up. Everyone's celebrating, party time. And you know what? We just went and turned it round, and Brighton just literally collapsed. And that's, you know, it was just a great season. Yes, it was a championship season, but you know what? It was a really, really enjoyable season to support the club. You know, it just was just like for what he said. Go into a game knowing that you're the favourites to win the game, and it's not just a case of how many shots you're going to have at goal; it's how many goals you're going to score. And we don't have that. We don't have that very often. So to have that feeling going to games, travelling up and down the country was a good feeling. I'm
just going to read out. Yeah, I'm just going to read out some of these comments. So Keith said, I remember going to watch Newcastle 2, Sheffield United 1 at St James's Park, 2009-2010 championship season, when Newcastle United had promotion in the bag. Fans were seen going up. Kevin Erling's overhead kick, remember that? Yeah, we do, mate. We do indeed.
Can I just say something on that? Me and one of my good friends is a Sheffield United fan, and you know, I've always had a bit of affiliation with the club anyway, because I played for their academy when I was younger. And so we all went up, a group of us went up to stay over in Newcastle, went to that game. He was in the Sheffield United end, and we were obviously in the home end, literally just below him in the Leazes end. And that game, we went to the pub. I think it was West Brom against Forest in the early kickoff. So that ended up a draw. So we knew we were going up anyway. We just needed to get that win, and it was a proper party atmosphere. In the game aside, we won the game, but I remember us going out afterwards to the gate at the time, and that's Newcastle is the only place in the country where you can get into a club and get on the dance floor with a Newcastle top on, and it's just seen as normal. And it was a proper carnival party atmosphere. There was no music being played. The only music that was played on the dance floor was Newcastle chants the whole night through, and everyone was in proper party mode, and it was just honestly unreal game. That was really, really good night.
Sounds about right. I mean, look, we could go on about our times for ages, but again, we're going to move on to something else. But just one more shout out to, obviously, we are the Geordies. So again, if you're following them on Twitter, if you're not following them on Twitter, follow them. It's Geordies_FF. Film's coming out on the 11th of December. The website's there at the bottom there, wearethegeordies.com. So again, just make sure you give them a little look. My bald head's in there. You've got the likes of Scud, Whistler, and a couple of others as well in there as well. So make sure you get on board with that as well. Right, last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap up is obviously the game at hand. We won't go into too much detail in it because there's still more time to go, and we can potentially go into it another time. But we've got Chelsea coming up, boys. Look, we've heard earlier on in the stream that they don't do too well at St James's Park, but they spent a lot of money. They brought in the likes of, you know, Werner and all these other players here, Chilwell, and we're going against Steve Bruce's Newcastle, not Rafa Benitez's Newcastle. So I don't know how organised we will look. Will we still have Almiron's agent still in the ear of other players as along with his own as well? I don't know. How are we going to actually get a result against these guys?
Well, let's not get it twisted. I don't care if we lose 5-0. Chelsea have the players and the quality to inflict that kind of punishment on us. What I'm saying is, if we do lose this game, and I don't see any sense of football from us, that's what's going to frustrate me. No matter how good Chelsea look, there's going to be holes and opportunities in their team. What I want from Bruce is to be able to take advantage of those moments. What if I play Miggy here, because I know Zuma doesn't like to track back, against Arsenal in the FA Cup final? Mikel Arteta knew Chelsea push high. He kept on telling Tierney, who can loft the ball, play over their back four every single time. All their goals came from them playing it over their back four. I just want to see Bruce have some kind of knowledge to say, you know what? I see what he was trying to do, but fair play to Chelsea. They've spent the money, they've got the stature, and that's why they beat us. Not because we just lay there like a cheap hooker waiting to get penetrated.
Yeah. You know, I love Kobe, man. He kills me.
That's what I'm saying. Because more time we just come to the game looking like lunch, just laying there. Yeah. You ready, boys? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. But you're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what? Like you said, Chelsea are expected to win this game, and they're expected to win it comfortably. And with the money that they spent more than any other Premier League club, you know, you hold your hands up with this game if they take the 3 points and say, "Yeah, we expected that." But like you said, Chelsea again have got gaps in their team. They're not the full article yet. They're not the finished article. Their defense is there to be had. They're slow. They're slow and laboured, and we've got pace, so we should be causing them problems the other way. Yes, they've got a better keeper this time in Mendy, who I think is a fantastic goalkeeper, and will only get better as he gets older. But their defence is not ready yet, and we need to exploit that. As the home team, we should be exploiting that, and if we can, we'll give ourselves half a chance. You know, I think that we'll sit deep. Yeah, I do, because that will be the only way to stop them, because Chelsea are very much a counter-attacking team, and if you go toe to toe with them, you'll end up getting destroyed, and it will be the 5-0 that Fumby talked about. But you know, we've got a chance, but it all depends on the mentality of our players. It all depends on who's available and the mentality of the players on the day. The fact that it's an early kickoff, and the fact that they've got players that are travelling from far distances. You've got Pulisic that's injured. You've got Thiago Silva that's coming back from Brazil, apparently. You've got Chilwell that's picked up an injury for England and has been out the last game. He's got a back injury. You know, they've got some of their key players that could not be playing. You know, Havertz isn't on form. Timo Werner will play, and he'll be a difficult player. But if you get the centre-backs around him and make it difficult, we've got half a chance. So I'm not ruling it out, but if we don't win, it's to be expected, and we move on to Palace. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it is as simple as that. Leo's making some points that West Brom scored 3 goals against Chelsea, so you know it's possible. Shout out Clarkey in the building. He's a Chelsea fan, so he's going to be listening in. So, mate, we can't really cuss off Chelsea, to be fair, because look, we're envious. I'm certainly being in their position. I mean, Chelsea for a while now have been spending crazy money. Yeah, they had their little break when they had to, or their enforced break, but at the same moment in time, it's not like they had, you know, 11 novices running around, did they? Do you know what I'm saying? They still could go to their youth team that they spent. They've invested heavily in their youth, and that's part of the reasons why they're in this position. You know, like they have like literally have a conveyor belt of talent through their youth team, and that's the reason why they can go to their youth team and then come back and still be as strong as us, if not stronger. How do we exploit them? Because the only weakness I see, I don't even know if it's a weakness now, is Thiago Silva. Obviously had a bit of a mare against West Brom, but I think now he's come back into his own. How do we exploit them? Because I'm still weaknesses.
Speed, and also we can't let Jorginho dictate the midfield. He's slow, so he doesn't want to be rushed. If we allow him to spread his wings, he will spread them. He will pick the passes they need. So we have to be on them in the midfield, and when we get the counter-attack opportunity, we have to make it count. We can't just, you know, break and then run 50 yards, lose the ball, and now we're tired again. You understand? It's like Pete said, we're going to sit back, which I worry, because if we let Jorginho express himself, I think they would express themselves. Ziyech is a problem too, because he's starting to find form. So we have to be wary of him. Mason Mount, again, these people get busy. You know, they've had the England reviews. They're playing so well. So they're going to want to express themselves. So we have issues. But like I said, there's opportunities to exploit them. West Brom scored 3 because they went looking for 3. We won't score 3 if we don't go looking for it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If West Brom can go on their own patch and go and express themselves and really emphasise their attacking intent on Chelsea and score 3 goals, there's no reason why we can't. There's no reason why we can't do that, because we've got better players. It's as simple as that. we have better players. Now, if Jorginho is playing in that little deep line role and dictating the play, that's where you want Miggy chasing after him and pressing him high and make it difficult for him to have all day on the ball and dictate the game. That's where you want him. You want to be playing a little bit more direct and down the middle, because you want those balls, like Fumbi said, over the top, where Callum Wilson's potentially winning on the end of it. And hopefully, only if he's 100% fit, hopefully he plays and he's able to do that. That's exactly what you want. But their defence can be exploited. I've got no doubts about that. And if Chilwell's not playing, even more so, because that just completely cuts out any attacking intent down that left-hand side. But if we've got the right mentality, we'll get chances in this game. And if the likes of Wilson and potentially Fraser and Maximin are playing, you've got the ability to put the ball in the net. And if we can get the first goal, it's all to play for.
Couple more comments to read out. Liam saying Chelsea will hammer us not because they've got quality, because we accept defeats before the ball's even kicked.
And that's mentality right there.
Keith saying, guys, do you think Bruce should risk bringing Callum Wilson back for this game or not? To be honest with you, that's just one answer. I think yes. I know you're saying no, but I think we've got no hope without him.
Well, if he's not fully fit, there's no need to play him if he's not fully fit, because it's not going to make any difference. If he's not fully fit, just don't play him.
Yeah, it's exactly what Keith's saying. Do we risk Callum Wilson? If it's a risk in any way, shape, or form, no, don't risk him, because with the likes of Palace, with the likes of Leeds, with the likes of West Brom, Fulham to come afterwards, we're lucky that it's only a minor tear and it's a couple of week job. If he then does it again and it's worse, and we're looking at 8 weeks, then he's missing all of those fixtures, and that's not what we want. So for me, if he's only 100% fit and he's been given the okay and that he's back up to speed, a little bit like Hayden. Hayden came out the other day, I think it was yesterday, and said, I'm now fully 100% fit. He wasn't 100% fit, which is why he wasn't playing the last couple of games, because we were all like, why is he not playing? If he's on the bench, why is he not starting the game? Get him on the pitch. It turns out that he wasn't 100% fit. So I'm glad he's not playing. He wasn't playing, because now he is 100% fit after 3 or 4 weeks rest. He's going to be starting the game on Saturday. It'll be the same with Callum Wilson. If he's not 100% fit, don't risk him. Give him another week's rest and another week's worth of training. And then if he's ready to go for Palace, where we've got a better chance of winning the game, let's get him ready for that.
The only person that wants us to risk Callum Wilson is Andy Carroll. That's the only person.
Yeah.
Last thing is that quickly, just want to play devil's advocate. I saw Iosi Perez flirting with us on Twitter. I think he's seen an old skill that not with us personally, with the club from his base, a little flick or trick like years ago, and he's basically just said, good times, whatever. Would you take him back at Newcastle, considering he's not really getting a kick at Leicester?
There's no place to play him. Sorry.
No place to play him.
Unless it's another manager that comes in and says, Ayoze's going to fit here. What's the point in signing Ayoze now when we've got a manager who can't even play Miggy, ASM, and Fraser together? What's the point? And plus, he left us Billy Big Bollocks. You want to play Champions League football? Well, boo-boo, go fix that out, innit? You're not coming back here.
That's it, boo-boo.
Yeah, sorry, boo-boo. It ain't working over in Leicester. Now you want to come home. Nah, fam. You didn't say that when you were doing your little reveal, when you're doing your little hairstyle now, you're scoring your goals. You thought you were the man. Now go ahead, boo-boo.
Not for me. Not for me.
Nah.
Look, he's there's no doubt that he for signing for us for 1.5 million, and he had a fantastic run at the club, and regardless of how he left in the situation. He was a good servant for the club, and we're all, there was an element of all of us that was disappointed when he left. But at the same time, we understood why he left, because of the type of ambition that the club that he was going to. But look, we all said the same when he did leave: is that he was a very patchy player. in that he's not a consistent performer. He has purple patches for elements of the season, mostly at the back end of the season, and as he did for his last 2 years with us. And I said it to the Leicester fans, obviously being from Leicester, and saying, I said it to the Leicester fans, if you're thinking he's going to consistently perform at that level, you are sadly mistaken. And to add to that, he always wanted to go to Spain. He never wanted to go to Leicester. He wanted to go to Valencia, and he pushed to go to Valencia, but they couldn't afford him with the buyout clause, so he settled with going to Leicester. So he wasn't fully ever happy going there, and he never really fit the style that Brendan Rodgers wanted him to play. And we're seeing that right now because Harvey Barnes was way below him. He is now so far ahead of him in the pecking order. He's not even made a couple of the Leicester squads recently. He's not even made the squad. He's not even made the 20-man squad or whatever. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Now, Pete, these men are riding off of average performances, yeah? But because we had no pride, no dignity, we just give them the jersey. Same as Sissoko. They men were doing the big Billy Bullock shoulder. But then you go to a real team who have real goals and real ambition and want you to play like that every single game. Then they're like, I love Newcastle fans. Of course you did. Because we didn't care when you didn't play well.
Yeah, he knew he was guaranteed to get a game every week, and that he could have a shit game one week and still be in the team the next. And you're right. And he's look, he'll probably leave in January or the summer, but he'll go to Spain. He'll go to Spain on loan, or he'll go on a cheap deal. He won't stay in the Premier League if he leaves Leicester.
Okay, right. So we'll call it a day there. Thank you guys for watching and listening. It's been good to kind of get these things off of our chest. Discussed quite a few things. Obviously, the film that's coming out, We Are the Joys. We discussed the T word, which we won't get into no more until it actually happens. And obviously, we've discussed the Chelsea the Chelsea game coming up on this Saturday as well. So we shall see you guys all soon. Thank you for this, and take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.
Peace, lads.
Take it easy, boys. Take it easy.
Peace.